We have kids' choices and interests and skill level. So these are ways that we can get kids grouped together, and we can explore with lots of these different ways. Technology has made collaborative learning easier, I think, in lots of ways. We have things like the active board and computers and the internet. And when kids work in groups, they really sense the value of teamwork. And I think that sometimes kids can get, that we can get maybe too thinking about ourselves and almost too competitive with everybody else. So definitely grouping occasionally can really help us work with others, work in symphony. And grouping gives kids the excitement of wondering who will be grouped with who. And always getting the same partner equals less exciting grouping. So I think that we really need to explore with different options, because I think that one of the points of grouping is that you want to know who you'll be grouped with. And that's one of the things that I really enjoy. Like, for instance, at my online school, I will sometimes go to a class where we have a math competition. And it could be boys against girls, although the girls always win, so we stop that after a while. And it could be based on birthdays or based on first names alphabetically. There were some really cool ways, and so it gave me that excitement. And a variety of grouping methods give kids a variety of ways to shine. So when you do it based on skill level or based on responses to assessments, if you mix it up a little bit sometimes, you can really give kids lots of different opportunities to work with different people. So I would encourage you to explore all the methods. How do we group kids creatively? And sometimes it can be fun to do it based on interests. So for instance, if somebody is a really big fan of dinosaurs, then you could group them with someone else who is a really big fan of dinosaurs, which should not be too hard to find. And you could sometimes occasionally group them based on something random, like the color of a shirt, whether or not they own sunglasses. That would be probably not too often, but make a list of student interests like ancient Egyptian history or dinosaurs, and poll students, then group them based on similar interests. So you get grouped with people who really like the same things that you do. And so grouping is really an excellent way of getting kids to work together and create the finished product. I'd like to talk a little bit about what I call the gifts of teaching for gifted students. So we have some things we can draw out here. Compaction is one of them. Probably you guys are very experienced with all of these terms, compaction, and all of those got grouped together somehow. Responsibilities, enrichment, and choice and creativity. So I'd like to start with enrichment. I think it's really important that we go beyond the lesson. So the standard basic lesson will be fine for some students, but others will want more. Like, for instance, when I learn something, I am always asking questions. Why did this happen? When did this happen? How did this happen? Who was behind it? Etc. So when you use enrichment, you can really give people like me the chance to get answers to these questions. And you can give students choices for enrichment. Now, very plain vanilla cone to the cone of sprinkles and chocolate and strawberry sauce and everything. I would prefer this one. Insert interesting facts and additional information to provide new learning about a topic. So here's a plain lesson without enrichment. King Henry VIII was born in 1491 in Greenwich Palace, among other things. The king was famous for marrying 6 times, his wives were so-and-so. So this is without enrichment. And it's kind of plain and not very interesting. Now, here we have some with enrichment. The 6 wives of Henry VIII, we have pictures. Actually, this one's out of place, but we have our pictures, and we have also connectors and enrichment on the side, and a rhyme at the bottom. So maybe you can start out with your students by giving them just this, and this might be what you test on. But when you have some enrichment, some optional enrichment for kids to look at about maybe the different people and interesting facts in their life, and this rhyme, you really give gifted students the chance to find out more. It can be really difficult to teach abstract study skills. You kind of go up in the clouds when you say something like, let's start taking notes and then when I was little, I didn't really understand the concept of taking notes. I would write down every word, word for word, and as a result, I really got left behind, and it was hard for me to concentrate. So I did not understand note-taking at all, and it was really hard when somebody says, take notes, make it concise, condense it, and I was like, well, what exactly do you mean? I mean, I might know the dictionary definition of condensing, but how do I apply that to my writing? So you want some models, not quite these kind of models, but give classroom roles to your gifted students. Yeah, I have a feeling they would be wearing something a little bit more normal. So here's one idea, class note taker, taking notes on a lesson and then sharing them, kind of like a court reporter. So if you've been in court, I'm hoping not, or maybe just on the jury duty, not as a defendant, but like a court reporter is taking notes on everything and is able to report back. Well, a class note taker would do the same thing, only for the school and probably not verbatim. So this could be a reward for good behavior, good academic performance, so make sure these roles are portrayed as a reward, as a kind of limited opportunity. And so a class note taker would act as a role model for other students and provide guidelines on taking notes. So when you have one person who is really skilled at something, then they can really model that skill for others. And so when another student is seeing how this class note taker is taking notes, then they will understand, oh, that's how you do it. Another idea would be to start a class publication, such as a newsletter or a portfolio of student work. So do we have anybody who has a newsletter or a class publication, basically? Something maybe circulate in your class? Is anyone here? Oh, great, I see one person. Would you like to tell us about that?